And a Salvadorian man accused of being a top MS-13 gang leader is asking a judge not to dismiss the criminal case against him. ICE arrested Henrry Josue Villatoro Santos in a highly publicized raid last month. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel were both in attendance. The government then filed a motion to dismiss his case yesterday. Bondi saying, quote, as a terrorist, he will now face the removal process. Now he's asking to delay the dismissal because he fears the government would immediately deport him to Sakat without an opportunity for due process. Let's bring in ABC News legal contributor Kim Wehle for more. Hi, Kim. So how unusual is this move for a defendant to ask for a delay in dismissing their case? And what does the judge need to consider here?
It's very unusual, right? Most people don't want to be indicted and subject to criminal process. The whole goal of getting a criminal defense attorney is to get your case thrown out. But I think here what we're seeing is this defendant's lawyer's understanding that he has a better chance of having a fair process in the United States, where the United States Constitution applies, including the Due Process Clause, the 14th Amendment, all kinds of rights that attach to people, even if they're non-citizens, even if they cross the border illegally. The Constitution applies to them here, does not apply in a place like El Salvador, which of course is a foreign country.
So this comes after the Supreme Court ruled the administration can resume deporting suspected gang members to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act, for now at least, but they must be afforded due process. So what do you think that would look like in this case, and what are the next steps?
Yeah, so this is complicated and nuanced, but the thing to keep in mind is the government under Trump and these defendants' lawyers and the courts are fighting about what does due process even mean. Trump's taking the position that under the Alien Enemies Act, there's no due process. He is due process. There are other cases where the question is, well, you've got an immigration judge that just gave the defendant due process, says you get removed, but can you then remove them to a place like El Salvador if they didn't come from El Salvador? There's a statute that says you can't do that automatically if it's not a safe place. There are lots of moving parts here. At the end of the day, it seems to me the lower court judges are correct to say, listen, due process applies. And so the idea that you get none has got to be wrong. But to your point, the question, this is a really bizarre situation where the judge is going to have to, on the one hand, weigh immigration law, on the other hand, weigh the case before him regarding illegal gun possession. He could very well say, listen, these are two separate issues. I have to go along with the government here, and then you'll have to file separately for some kind of relief in the immigration context. And that's basically what the Supreme Court said in one of its decisions, its 5-4 decision. It said, listen, you can have due process, you just can't have it in the court where you filed. But that makes it difficult for a lot of these people who don't have lawyers, who don't speak English, who are swept off the street, sometimes without any opportunity for due process. The Supreme Court made it harder for them to get the Constitution's protections to apply, and easier for the Trump administration to do what really feels like unconstitutional and illegal actions in a way we've really never seen since perhaps the Japanese internment in the Second World War, which is one of the dissenting justices' point in that case last week.
All right, ABC News legal contributor Kim Wehle. Kim, thank you.